All right, Brock Purdy. Great in the second half of the NFC Championship to send the San Francisco 49ers to Super Bowl LVIII. He's done very well against quarterbacks taken first overall, 5-1 against them. Mr. Irrelevant, last player taken to the draft. He'll be the third youngest player to start a Super Bowl at 24 years and 46 days old, which is just a few years younger than my next guest, Farhan Lalji. He's not yet 30. He's at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara. He's wearing a beautiful jacket. Okay, Farhan, a couple of years ago, Dan Campbell gives his infamous kneecap speech when talking about team's identity and ability to overcome adversity. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case Sunday. Was it the play calling for you, Farhan, that cost the Lions the NFC Championship?
Well, ultimately, Jay, it was the decision-making. He kicked the kneecaps out of his own team with those fourth down decisions. And what was so bizarre about it is that at the end of the first half, he had a choice inside the 5-yard line to take the points and go up 3 scores or go for it on fourth down. And he thought about going for it. There was some hesitation there before they sent the field goal unit out, and he kicked. He made the right decision to go up 3 scores. Now, midway through the third quarter, you've got the opportunity to do it again, and he doesn't do it. And then when you look at how his team responded after that, and initially I didn't hate it because you got to make that catch, but after that, when you look at how his team responded, they just simply couldn't make a play. You saw the interception deep down the field. They couldn't make that play. Jahmyr Gibbs then fumbles on the next drive. Then the drive after that, they had a couple of easy drops. Reynolds, and before that, Laporta. It's difficult when your team knows, oh boy, we just made a decision. It didn't work out. You want them to have your back. You want them to respond. The Detroit Lions didn't respond. And then the final decision to go for it when you have the chance to take the lead, tie the game. That's unconscionable.
Yeah.
In a different context, Jay, that is a fireable offense.
Yep.
And the truth is that everybody loves Dan Campbell in Detroit. He's absolutely rallied the community. He's got everyone behind that team. The bloom is going to be off the rose after these decisions. This was a wasted opportunity. I saw players and other coaches come off the field. I talked to some support staff from the Lions that I know. They were all shaking their head. I asked them about the decision. This was kind of the reaction. So believe me, all the love in that Dan Campbell has, that's going away real quick because of these decisions.
I think that's an excellent point. So the Niners erased that 17-point deficit in the third quarter. They go to the Super Bowl. How much credit, Farhan, goes to Brock Purdy and his performance, especially in the second half?
Yeah, I think you've got to give it all to Brock Purdy, quite frankly. And yeah, the defense was better, but we also talk about the plays that Detroit didn't make. The fact is, after the third quarter of this game, they had still held Christian McCaffrey to just 3.3 yards per rush. So they were really containing them, but it was Brock Purdy finding a way to make plays in that second half. He had 5 rushes for 48 yards. All of them for first downs. Would you have ever thought that Brock Purdy was going to be the leading rusher for the San Francisco 49ers in terms of yards per carry? And this is the thing, is that no matter how, how much moxie you think this kid has and what have you, no defense prepares to deal with Brock Purdy, the runner. They just don't. And so he made them pay. Even if he wasn't running, he was sliding in the pocket and able to make throws, some crazy off-platform stuff where he was looking like Mahomes from time to time. Last week, he waited until the final drive to pick himself up by the bootstraps and play his best football. Here he did it in the entire second half because, again, if you look at the numbers, they, for the most part, contained McCaffrey. They contained Debo. It was Brock Purdy that played his best football in the second half of this game.
Couldn't agree more. So Super Bowl is set. Niners taking on the defending champion Chiefs. It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, our bosses could not have dreamed up a better matchup for TSN and CTV. What are you most looking forward to for that matchup between the Chiefs and the Niners?
Well, I want to see if San Francisco can play its best football because they haven't yet.
Yep.
They were fortunate to beat Green Bay. You can make the case if Dan Campbell makes different decisions here tonight, there's not a celebration here with all these fans sticking around for all of it. So can they play their best football for 4 quarters? Because you go back to the last time these two teams played in the Super Bowl, the 49ers were outstanding for 3 quarters. And then in the fourth quarter, Patrick Mahomes, who had nothing going on, saved his best for last and put together his signature fourth quarter to win that game. They outscored the 49ers 21-0. Jimmy G didn't make the key plays he needed to make late in that game. So, I want to see that. Is there another level for the 49ers? Because they haven't shown it to us here in the playoffs. I think the only guy that is fully certain it's going to happen is James Duthie. Because you know Duthie, and you know how that's going to go. But the Kansas City Chiefs are playing their best football right now. the last 2 weeks, no drops.
Yep.
They're not turning the football over. I mean, they had the one 2 weeks ago at the goal line, but they were able to overcome that. They've been there. They've done that. They've got a tremendous amount of Super Bowl experience. The Niners had NFC Championship experience. Let's see if they can save their best for last year, because we haven't seen it in the playoffs thus far.
No, you make a great point. They haven't looked amazing at all. Boy, you make another great point about Duthie, too. He's leading our Super Bowl coverage in Vegas, and that's going to be insufferable for you. That outspoken Niners fan.
It's going to be. It's too bad you're not coming.
I know, that biased coverage. I wouldn't be biased like Duthie's going to be. He's going to be all over the Niners, but you're going to have a great time.
Well, he used to have a man crush on Jimmy G when we came the last time, right? Like, that was uncomfortable. But now, I'm not sure if the same level of love is there for Brock Purdy, but, he's going to be pretty excited. There's no doubt.
Yeah, he's probably switched it to George Kittle. Who knows with Duthie? It's hard to say. Thanks, my friend. Great job as always. We'll talk to you soon.